It can be tough trying to constantly come up with different content ideas. You can have all the motivation and want to make videos, but the ideas might just not be there. And because of that, it can make you feel like you're falling behind, you're just not creative enough, or that you just have to settle for making one video a month. And that's why I want to show you how to unlock that endless string of ideas that is locked inside of you. I believe that every creator has a well of ideas that is just waiting to sprout, but you just have to find out how to get those ideas out of your head. When I first came onto YouTube, I did not consider myself a creative person, and I thought that I might not be able to continually come up with different ideas. But then after uploading more and more videos and getting advice on this side of content creation, I realized that coming up with those ideas really only comes down to one thing. All you're gonna have to do is be super curious about everything you do in life. Because when you're super curious about everything, or you hone in on something you really are interested in, you're never gonna stop coming up with different ideas. And this is super important right now because with AI coming, everybody's scared. But if you realize that AI right now cannot think creatively. So because it cannot think creatively, if you take advantage of knowing the methods they can use to come up with constant ideas and be a creative person, then you can take advantage of this new age that we're going into. You're not gonna have to fear anymore because you know that you can make the most of this new opportunity. And that's why I'm gonna show you the 3 methods that I use to constantly come up with different content ideas. So method number 1 is get curious on YouTube. You cannot just watch videos just to watch them. Every time you watch a YouTube video, you have to break it down and understand what makes that so interesting. Why are people watching that video? But then to go a little further, you can go on YouTube's search filters and filter for this month and this week to see what is currently trending and what is getting the most views at the moment. But don't just copy these video ideas, try to understand why people are watching those. And then if you have a couple channels that you're interested in, go ahead and head to those channels, look at the most recent videos that they uploaded. Out of the past 10 to 20 videos, a couple of those, maybe 2 to 3 of those videos are gonna have an abnormal amount of views. And after seeing those outlier videos, you have to look into why they're doing better, why they're currently working right now, and implement some of those things into your own videos. Maybe it's the way that they wrote the titles, maybe it's the thumbnails, maybe it's the value that they gave in the videos. You have to break it down and be curious about every part of those videos. And you need to be able to do this because it's like an athlete like Kobe Bryant doing film study to find out what works and what does not work. If you're always keeping up with what's working, you're always gonna know what you need to do and how you need to adjust your videos so that the viewer gets what they want at the moment. The second method is to get curious in your everyday life. So after watching this video, I do not want you to go and watch a movie or watch a TV show without being curious about it and curious about how you can transfer that into your content. I want you to ask yourself, how can I use this in my content? It can be some realization that you had while you were watching a movie. It can be a quote that really inspired you. There's a whole bunch of ways to do this, but it's just important to pay attention to everything that you consume. And this is important to do because it turns everyday activities into potential content ideas. So for example, I recently watched this really terrible movie, and normally it would have just made me upset. But because I'm doing this and I'm curious about how I can use it for my content, I realized, okay, now I know exactly what I do not want to do for my viewers. I don't want to give them the same experience that I had watching this movie. So it just makes everything that you've watched a little more valuable if you pay attention to it. And the third method is to be curious about your audience. You can't just focus on making content that you want to make. You also have to focus on making content that your audience wants. And if you just take a second right now and think about your viewer and think about what they might want, you'll instantly be able to come up with a couple of ideas right off the bat. And this also ties into the other method, because if you see something that your audience might enjoy or get value from, you'll take it from whatever movie or TV show that you're watching and be able to put it into your content. And after doing this, just pay attention to the feedback that you get from your audience. They could ask you questions and you could turn those into videos, or you could just see what they're genuinely interested about. And this is going to hone you into what they really want, and it's going to allow you to come up with a whole bunch of ideas based on their interest. So the more videos you upload, the more content ideas you get. And if you're doing all of this, imagine being able to go day to day, getting inspired by every little piece of content or anything that you consume or have a conversation about. So everything you do in your life is going to be more meaningful, and every time you get out of bed in the morning, you're going to have a little pep in your step knowing that you're paying attention to everything you do. Because if you're curious about everything in life, you will never run out of content ideas.